Yes.
Well,
Amen,
if you
sister.
immerse yourself in this world of skepticism or truth or questioning everything, like it's like I've always said to you guys, like I'm pretty much agnostic about everything. Like I don't.
Yeah.
My motto is like believe nothing, don't disregard anything, kind of thing.
Middle bitch.
Yeah, but I mean, but it's like I'm not gonna pick a side because
Middle bitch.
I'm gonna middle bitch it. You know,
middle bitch it,
that's.
yeah.
I think that's.
I think that's
Like,
a rational place to be because you can
It
see
is, but
truth
it's also
in
like
both.
Yeah,
you
there's truth in
can't-
everything.
There's
but,
truth in
like-
everything.
But my point is like you can't like. I don't even know where I was going with that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. At the end of the day, when you have your finger on the pulse of this stuff, whether you're going into it as objectively as possible or just looking at the information and looking for what it is, eventually you do start to lose trust in the official narrative, and your mind will eventually jump to relatively outlandish explanations. And that outlandish doesn't necessarily mean untrue either.
No.
So like if I look at like we were just talking about, I look at the patterns of government operations and false flags and like how many times did these people lie to us, all this stuff. Well, that's a pattern I've recognized. So why would I trust To the Stars Academy to tell me the truth about UFOs? That's
I
all
don't
I'm
trust
saying.
anyone in general. The only person I trust is myself because I saw a fucking UFO.
Amen.
There you
Same
go.
thing. I don't go to like one news source or like I don't go to anyone or anything to be like, oh, like this is some shit. Like I don't go there.
It's like the same
I've
thing
never
with religion.
seen a UFO, but I believe that there's something to it because I trust you guys.
Oh,
That's so
thanks.
sweet. We love that.
I think that the more you go out, it'll probably happen.
100%. I think a big part of it too is being
I don't
around
leave
the
the
right.
house. Though. That's
No,
the problem.
there's like, and it's there's that a big part of it. We say one part of a reason a lot of people don't have experiences because they're not going outside, sitting in fucking nature to have these experiences. They're not going out there looking for it. And I think another big part is having to be open to it. You know, like wanting to have that kind of experience and being open to that happening because the aliens are gonna show up to someone who's like, fuck them aliens. I don't want them in my life.
Right.
And the third
Sometimes
is-
they do.
Sometimes.
Yeah,
But I
sometimes
think
they do.
it also is the kind of people
Travis
who have
Walton
around.
wasn't trying to have that.
Wasn't trying, yeah.
experience, I don't think.
But I
I
also
think
think
I
it's
was
the
never trying to.
it's the
either.
people that you keep around you as well. Like if you have people around you, like I swear to God, if me and Bree hung out with you, I know that a UFO would come. Like I know it. I know that it would happen. It's just it's a vibe, and I know I could call upon my alien friends, and they would be like, "Here, Bobby, this is for you," and you'd be like, "Wow."
Let's switch gears here if you don't mind. Like,
Yes.
is there a way like to like do you guys buy into the whole
CE5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't tiptoe
You
around
do.
it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
We've done it.
And it's not like you've done it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And like, you have to be aware of like confirmation bias, obviously. Like
Mhm.
you look like we've talked about it before, like when people are looking for Bigfoot, everything's a Bigfoot when they
Yes.
see or hear anything.
Yes.
I
But
am
you
very
can-
skeptical all the time, though.
Both of
It's
us
like
are.
in me. So there's plenty of times where like someone will be like, "That's a I'm like, no,
No.
it's fucking not.
Like
Mhm.
It's not."
and I'll tell you, sometimes we've even CE5 is such an interesting thing to call it. I think because I think sometimes me and Bree do CE5 without even realize we're doing CE5. Like I don't think CE5 is necessarily something that you have to sit down and do. Like yes, that is part of it, but I think that there's also just like something inside of your consciousness that is like when they're open to that and they're thinking about it. Like there's been times me and Bree just sit in her backyard and we're just vibing, and like I feel like we're in a CE5 but we're not, because we're just like being ourselves and doing whatever, and we've seen weird things. And so I think that you don't have to necessarily like sit down and put on some music and fucking say some weird chant in your head in order for aliens to come. There's levels to CE5.
Okay. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about like the concept of tulpas lately.
Okay.
Where like if enough people like put energy or belief into something, it will
If they
manifest
will it to be.
and
Yeah.
will it into existence.
Yes.
And I
there's
think
so
that
many levels
poltergeist.
to that. Yeah.
I think that some people that are open enough on an individual level can almost do that. And then you can get into like my whole theories about the multiverse, like where like like literally there's another universe where like I
Mhm.
decided not to come on the show tonight and it
Mhm.
affected the butterfly effect down the
Yes.
timeline for whatever reason. I just knocked over the camera.
Because you
But-
just left the show.
You know what I mean? Like I think in another reality, like
Mhm.
all this shit going down was squashed out immediately for
Yeah.
whatever reason, or like I just think the multiverse is like every single possibility that could
Yes.
ever be, and we can't fathom it. So
Yes.
that said, if you look at that on an individual level, or take the concept of like tulpas, I think you can, it's almost like The Secret, I guess. Like,
I was
if
like,
you think
basically,
positive, good things will come to you,
yeah,
and things
it's
like that.
creating your own reality in a sense, right? So like I also equate this a little bit to the simulation theory, right? Because there's a possibility that if we are the simulation, right, and we're all these beings inside of the simulation, our brains can create code. So there you are, once you think about something, you've created it and it's now within your reality, right?
You're hacking
so
the matrix.
Exactly. So that same kind of sense, there's so many, when you say tulpas, there's so many different ways that it could be like what you're talking about, but I totally get what you're saying. It's this idea that we all believe it to be real, so therefore it is real. And that's, I think, genuinely the world that we live in and how I think things work. Like for me, that's
Right.
how I think the world works. Like genuinely,
and
that's how I think everything happens.
a global tulpa would be, whether you want to subscribe to it or not, like, is like religion, government, like whatever people put all their belief and energy into,
yeah.
that makes it on some level, to at least to those people, real and objectively true, even though it actually might not be in a vacuum, right?
Have you ever seen that HBO show about all the gods, and the only way that they
American
exist?
Gods?
Yeah, American God, and the only way they exist is because people believe in them. It's like that same kind of thing.
I like Neil Gaiman. I've never seen the show though.
You should watch it. It's good.
I should.
It's that whole idea concept is like these gods only exist because people believe in them. So it's exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And I think the same can be said about a lot of things.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, no matter what, whatever you give energy to thrives, regardless of what it is. It could be a negative thought, could be a positive thought. I think whatever you seriously put energy into, it vibes, it creates a vortex, and it starts going, and it just depends on the intent. It depends on the amount of energy before it manifests.
And I think that that's ultimately what prayer is too.
Yes.
Like,
yeah,
you're putting
is.
something
100%.
out into the cosmos and expecting hopefully something back, because you're investing your energy in this higher power.
That's why mantras are basically prayer. It's just in a different format, but it's the same thing.
It's the same concept of when they have encounters with aliens and they call upon Jesus to save them, and all of a sudden the aliens leave. It's not about them calling on Jesus. It's about the energy that they're putting out.
Have you guys ever had Tim Alberino on the show?
No.
What the fuck is that?
Who's that?
He's one of these guys that's kind of like almost like a alien meets like Old Testament kind of stuff.
Interesting. Okay, I know that you're very into that biblical stuff.
He's a very interesting guy. Yeah, he's very like into like his like historic mythologies of humanity and how it all, and not on like even an Ancient Aliens level, just on like, it's something a little bit
biblical, like he actually like,
yeah, he's like a Christian and stuff, but he has all kinds of very
it's the first time Brie had that reaction.
Well,
he has all kinds of very like I guess profound or interesting connections between like archetypes and humanity and the stories we're told in religion and stuff, and how that all relates to, you know, this topic we're talking about. So but the reason I bring that up is he's someone that's saying like, I believe it was him that said like, it's not that like when you call upon Jesus, it's like casting away the demons of the grays or something like that. That's not how it works, but I don't know. But it's that same kind of idea though, where if you put enough energy into something, you can kind of alter what's
happening. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think Jesus is an ascended master, and so even if no matter what, I think he would have power.
Brie thinks that Jesus is an alien, just so everyone, it's very clear to everyone.
I've never said that.
Yeah, you have. An ascended master is an alien.
No,
well, you look at
okay, explain the difference to me, because to me, I just hear alien.
I think about that all the time when I watch Ancient Aliens. The intro, the old school intro at least, was all about like, what about like millions of people on Earth believe this, like believe that extraterrestrials influence mankind. It's like, well, if you extrapolate that, all that means is like angels and religion and messiahs and prophets, like like any kind of supernatural entity could be considered an
exactly. That's what I mean.
So that's the stretch there, but no,
and that's exactly what I mean. You're telling me that Jesus is like an extra dimensional being, so therefore alien.
I mean, no.
Right.
But we
But
could
yeah.
no. But then there's
And
also
these
people
are-
that could think that we could be interdimensional.
I
It
think
just
we
dep-
are interdimensional beings 100%.
So
So if we're
These
one,
are
why
the-
couldn't Jesus be one?
the whole
He was a human, was he
this.
not?
These are the nuanced conversations that old school UFO geeks like us can have,
Yes.
where these new bandwagoners coming in because the
They're all,
government said it
"What?"
was
They're like, what are you
okay.
talking about? Exactly.
They're like, what? I love Independence Day. I'm like, oh Jesus.
Exactly. I love Star Trek. It's so great.
I love Star Trek.
I
do
love Star Trek. I look into UFOs now for a living.
Oh my god! Like, get a different.
You
Stay
get
in
it.
college and look into something else.
I would say, Bree, do your day job, but your day job is now UFOs.
yeah, but it makes it complicated.
Exactly.
I have to love these people.
I know.
No, it's not that I dislike anyone. I'm just frustrated. But I think that could be part of the growth. It's like we want things to be so accepted and not so ridiculed. And then when they are, it's not going the way we want them to. And so
Yup.
that is a lesson in itself, you
Yep.
know? I just have to it feels good to vent the gross thoughts. And then I obviously can see where
And then repent for your sins.
where the thought maybe isn't fair.
Yeah.
And I'll say it again, I'm jaded, even though someone even told me on one of the shows we went on, they're like, well, being jaded isn't helpful.
I feel
Whatever.
that. Yeah. I think
was
I
like,
think
it was about the drops, the government drops. And I was like, maybe I'm jaded. I just don't really care, pay attention. And they're like, well, being jaded isn't really helpful. Like, we need this out.
well,
and
buying everything the government tells you isn't exactly helpful either.
And that's
so.
exactly what's our point.
yeah.
I get the jaded thing, and I get the skepticism thing, and I get I just pine for the day when the media and the government or whoever stages a UFO invasion and all the normies are like, oh my god, and I'm like, oh, that's all bullshit, don't even worry about that.
It's like, yeah, just ignore it.
That's totally safe. And they're like, you're a conspiracy theorist.
I know, right?
Like,
that's when we're gonna
no,
get it.
you're the one that's like buying into the the invasion that
We
looks
fucking
exactly like Hollywood movies from the
bombs.
last 40 years.
Yeah, there'll be bombs going off, people running, screaming, and like three of us will just be like sitting on a lawn, like drinking a beer or whatever, and like
having a picnic with our crystals. Like, hey guys, we're
pack
vibing.
your shit. We're like,
It's
for
like,
what?
For what?
It's just a ride.
I gotta go to work on Monday.
Just a ride. And no matter
Don't
what,
ever
life
be
is just a
afraid.
ride.
Don't ever be
Listen.
afraid. It's just a ride.
I hate to say this, but I hope that everything dies down.
I actually kind of do too in the media. I want it to die down. I want us to go back to
I hope
normal.
there isn't another drop. And I just
Because then we know that it's the fake shit's coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then I just think it would be good for other people to understand. I'm also kind of curious to see who's going to stick around.
Yeah, like
when we don't have that anymore.
Yeah.
Like
are people
where
gonna
does your
continue
interest lie?
Yeah, are people going to continue to pursue the topic even though the government stops releasing stuff?
Yeah, like, do you really have an interest for this, or is it just for documents?
Right. Think about how many like phases of things you've been into, you've gone through in your whole life.
Exactly.
And what the two things that have literally resonated with me since childhood is aliens and Bigfoot. Like it just is what it is.
It is what it is. Exactly. It's a lifelong passion.
And it maybe I'll ebb and flow in and out of it over the years, but like I always come back to it.
That's true. It's in your soul.
But like I was into roller hockey, then I was into skateboards and pro wrestling. It's like all that shit's like the past now, but aliens and cryptids keep rearing their head
and I think it's interesting that we're the kind of people too who are not into the government drops and stuff, because another person who's like a big name is like Grant Cameron, and he's like not into this shit at all. Like I remember we were talking to him and he had asked us, like, he's like, are you guys into this? And we were like, no. And he was like, thank fucking God. And he was like,
that's unleashed. What I was gonna ask you guys, is there anyone in the community that's skeptical about all the government stuff?
For sure.
Mike Farah,
like,
Walter Bosley. Definitely Grant Cameron, which I love because he literally created
Was
his career
around
off of
UFO
being
documents.
the document guy.
Off
The
that he was the White
UFOs
House
and
UFO guy.
president document
Mad respect
guy.
to that guy.
And he had that for decades. He was like the person to go through. And then
now
it was
he's like, fuck all that shit.
then he's like, this isn't the issue. Like, it's not. And that's where I wish people would realize, like, get out of the phase.
People need to listen to more
That's
Grant
not
Cameron right
the
now.
issue.
That's his YouTube. People should be checking out. I was watching his fucking videos right now. But there's
Who
a
is
lot of
this?
people
What's
in the
his name?
community who are not Grant Cameron.
Grant Cameron.
There's a lot of people in this community who are not into it. And Mike Barra has some very interesting points about some of these videos that are very talking that line of, is this our government? Is this just a drone? He strongly believes that all of these videos that came out are not UFOs. None of them. He's like, no,
I
absolutely
watch
not.
his show like almost every day.
His
Mike
YouTube.
Barra.
Oh, are you a
Yeah.
Barra fan?
You little fan?
I'm a Barra fan, but I'm like,
So
he
are
was
we. We
like
love
he was
Barra.
very invested in like the whole like
I know,
he's
and I was
he's
not.
been very skeptical and called it out to his credit, but like
Mhm.
the whole like Trump thing, I'm just like, dude, like I don't think
Give
this
it
is
up.
happening.
Mikey.
And he seems to be like on board with that more so. Like he was jaded way before like the rest of the Q people
yeah,
and shit.
for sure.
When he used to tell us about
which I think is
that
important.
JFK Jr. was coming.
Was
Remember
coming
he came on
back.
the show and like was like, no, he's gonna show up. Like Jay,
He's
we're
coming
like, what
back, yeah.
happens if he doesn't? He's like, he will.
No, he's like, no, he's coming. We're like, no, but
Yeah,
what happens
but
if he doesn't?
It's
He's
been
like, no, he
4
will.
years. So
And that's why I respect him, is like he seems to have like has no problem abandoning these things. he
Oh
doubled
no,
down
absolutely
on.
not. Yeah. I love Mike Barra with a fucking passion. Love
I
him.
Yeah.
know. People always like say stuff about that too. We had to explain that to someone. We're like, you don't get it. It's
Yeah, you don't get Mike Barra.
fact that he is unapologetic. He doesn't care what bridges he burns.
No.
Mhm.
He's going to
just
say
talking about
his
his shit.
truth, and
Yeah.
he's
Yeah,
going to
it's fucking
put
punk rock. I love
aside
that
the
guy.
So
part
punk rock, exactly.
of being popular. He's like, I'm here for the truth, not to be popular, even
Not to
though
be popular.
that might do some damage to my career. He's not thinking of it career wise.
He's not. He's just
Yeah.
laying his shit out there. And, I
Honestly,
have
like, this
nothing
is
but
how I
respect
feel.
for him. Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets wrapped up in some shit that he shouldn't. But what we love about him is he talks his fucking truth, and that's what we love about him.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think that he's on the level. Like he as some of the crazier shit that he spews out, which is fine. Like we're no
It
different.
comes with the territory. Exactly.
But like he is completely. He is someone that would call out his former self and call him a fucking idiot. It seems
100%. Yeah. I think
if he
so.
needs to.
Mhm.
Which is great. I think everyone needs to be like that. Like I am doubling down on a lot of things lately and being very like digging my heels in on a lot of stuff. But like,
Yeah.
Fuck it.
I don't give a fuck if I was like, if I'm wrong, I'm like, you're gonna get more respect, like, you know, admitting to that rather than
Yeah.
you know holding on to
Beating
that
around
forever.
the bush. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, mad respect to Mike Barra and
100%.
Mad respect.
yeah,
B.
and sometimes I'll send him memes on Instagram and he just gives me like a thumbs up.
Thumbs
I'm like,
up.
but I want to talk to you.
It's
One
so
day.
funny. He had his last presentation when I was watching. I was fucking cracking up because I'm like, Mike, of course you went there. He
says
was
some
like
crazy shit.
saying some crazy shit, and then he even like calls out people, you know, and then he's like, that's gonna get me uninvited to coast again, but whatever.
Hell yeah.
He
We
does
need more-
do that
we
kind
need
of
more
stuff.
Mike Barras in the
I
world.
was like, oh my god.
No, because you know
It's
what?
so funny
we
because
need more Mike Barras, but there's some people who take that shit way too fucking far and do it very distastefully. Mike Barra does it very tastefully, and he does it with good knowledge and he's
Yeah.
Humor.
very and humor. Exactly. There's some people who are out there who use his approach and do it in a very bully kind of way, and it does not
It's
work.
not cute. It's not
I just
cute.
loved watching him the last year on a show where like he has two or three co-hosts that are like very invested in kind of the, I guess, like Trump Q stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it went from like giving that the benefit of the doubt, be like, something needs to fucking happen. This is fucking bullshit. If I was in charge, I would have already arrested these people. Like, I'm just like, yes, go Mike Barra.
Go Mike
But, yeah.
Barra. He has so much passion.
Yeah, I love that guy.
I was just about to say,
Shout
how
out.
come he hasn't invited us to be a co-host? But then I guess it's because we don't have anything to talk about Q-wise. So
or Republican Trump wise. So
yeah, but I
Mike
could be the one
Barra,
that just,
I'll send you
says
this
shit.
clip. Let us come on the show. Let's have a. It's
Yeah,
Mike
but
Barra
here's the deal,
Wednesdays,
guys.
is it not?
If you
Yeah.
think that we're in a realm of right versus left right now, like
No,
it's
we're
You're
not
so
at all.
wrong.
Yeah, you're so wrong. That has
it's
nothing.
too
yeah,
late for
no.
you. It's
It
not
is, yeah.
about that.
Too
It
late
is
for
In the
so much
slightest.
different than that.
It's
Yeah.
And that's why I had to call
literally
you
just
guys out
another fucking
earlier. I was like, this
distraction.
is not a political thing. This is
No,
like
it's not.
people at the top versus people at the bottom. And that's the way it's always been, I
That's
think.
how it's always been.
And I think the culture war is a psyop. I think that right versus left is the oldest psyop in the book. Like, I think that these people use these paradigms to divide us and control us.
The
100%.
problem is that we fall for it, and then we
Mhm.
start to actually believe that.
Mm-hmm.
We start to form opinions around it. And it's that whole thing again, whatever you give energy to. It's like everyone's giving energy to it. And then it's like we feel like we have to then form an opinion on that. And
Yeah.
then, it's like, I don't know. I just think it's a big joke, the whole right versus left thing, because people forget about like who's really running the ship. No one even knows their fucking face.
Yeah.
I think the takeaway there is like, it's okay to not know too. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not like, I hate to use the word expert in this day and age, but if you're not like, I guess like well-read and like created a well-formed opinion about something and have principles to back that up, like, please shut the fuck up about it, because you don't know what you just don't know what you're talking about. And that's ultimately the problem with the internet and social media and all the shit we're talking about, Twitter, divisiveness. Like, nobody knows what the fuck they're talking
Everybody's
about.
armchair experts now.
Yes.
Especially
and
on Twitter.
I'm not remotely an expert on UFOs and aliens and shit and the stuff that you guys talk about, maybe more than the average bear, but I do study history, and I study, the government, and I study political philosophy and all that stuff. And I'm like, the CIA and the history of all that shit. And it's just like, dude, like, here's what's happening. Here's what happened in the past. This seems to be some sort of cyclical
repeating
thing that's
itself
happening. Yeah,
over and over and over again, and we never learn.
I
Never
know.
learn.
You guys, let's talk about something. Let's talk about what we should be doing. What are things that we should be looking into right now? Bree, you have your hand literally directly like in the heart of it. Like, what's big right now? Please tell us what we should be talking about other than the government shit.
Oh, well, I wanted to talk to you guys about that Angeli lady and see how you felt about that.
And Jelly?
Yeah.
Okay, give Bobby a quick rundown of the story.
So Angeli, you know what? I forgot her full background, government background.
But she has a government background. Long
story short, she's met alien beings in the Mojave Desert in like a cavern or something, like caves and stuff.
Who hasn't?
So
that's what I'm saying, like, very plausible. All right. Story. All right.
So
I was being facetious, but okay.
I know, so was I.
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
So she is like, they want to help in a soft disclosure. And she's going to take a group of like scientists or people or whatever out there to these caves to meet these beings. And she held a press conference in DC to tell everyone about it, to tell her story, what they've taught her. And it's very like, people will probably think like it's so woo-woo, but if you listen to a lot of experiencers, I feel like a lot of us start to say the same things, which is like whole like universal consciousness aspect. We're all kind of one. It's really about your consciousness growth. I feel like that's just like a reoccurring theme. And to me, it's like just being more spiritually elevated. You start to realize those things. But she is being fucking ripped apart right now.
She's being ripped apart. But I think the big part of her story that like there's two things. So there's this aspect of her story that people are trying to tear apart. But the bigger aspect is her talking about taking this team to go meet these aliens. And there's this big discussion about who should go with her. And I believe one of the things that she said is that she's gonna let Twitter decide who should go with her.
Wait,
and she's gonna let the internet decide who should go to this alien cave.
It's just like one person, right? Like, isn't there like a bunch of scientists, and then there's one like
there's like one lucky seed.
What are her like credentials and credibility to like conjure up these people that are willing to go though? Like, anyone can go.
She's just the insider. She knows where it is. She knows where the cave is, where she's got the hookups,
and she's amassed this team of scientists and people who are going to go down and are going to meet these aliens. And she wants
hope-
somebody like a George Knapp or a Jeremy Corbell or, you know, Jimmy Church kind of character to go with her along this ride.
I hope it happens, but I'm not gonna bet on it.
You should go watch her press conference.
Okay.
It's a very interesting story when people start to do the whole I'm gonna bring you to the aliens thing. I tend to be like,
Is this a cult?
like, what are we doing
Yeah.
here?
Do we
What
have
is
to all wear the
this?
same Nikes?
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
like
finger my butthole?
are you guys gonna come out of the cave? Like, what's happening here? Or like, I don't know. It just
You guys
seems so
get that?
weird
I was
to
talking about
me.
Heaven's Gate.
Yeah,
They all
exactly.
had the same Nike.
Yeah.
And so
Rest in
that's yeah,
peace.
it's like listen, I could believe her alien story. I could believe anybody's alien story. I think aliens are
Guys,
real. So it's
we
like
should
I get it.
infiltrate a UFO cult and just see
I
what it's like.
would love to.
We would totally be bought in like 4 hours. Like, yeah, this is
No,
awesome.
for sure.
Let's
Like,
party with these people.
We're like, yeah, these people
Next
are
thing we
great.
know, I'm, like,
Let's
cutting my
smoke some
balls
fucking
off
weed,
or,
drink some
like,
fucking
drinking
Kool-Aid,
Kool-Aid and
let's fucking
shit.
go.
Yeah.
yeah, we would fall victim.
We would be
Come
very
back
into
and be
it.
like, you guys just don't understand their philosophy.
You guys don't understand it's a community. We care about each
Yeah.
other.
Very
Yeah.
exclusive people are privy to this
Yeah.
information.
Like
exactly.
we're just, it's the truth.
We've
You
been
just have
chosen.
to
What you
just
don't
follow
understand is
Chosen.
them.
everything
We had to
led
get rid
us
of
to this
Jessica,
point.
but she just wasn't listening.
Everything led us to this point, and the people we left behind and the people who we take forward are the people who were meant to be and who were chosen to be here.
Exactly, the chosen ones.
On that note, I think the woo stuff is unfairly dismissed to some
100%.
Fact.
Super
Okay.
fact.
I hate to
I'm not gonna
say the
middle bitch
word
that one.
woo woo.
I know, but
like,
that's how
where I
everyone describes
lean.
it. Yeah, but we lean towards woo woo. I think, and me and Brie have
Leave the
talked about this
crystals alone.
recently. I did not start super woo woo, and I am so super woo woo. I have a little crystal and a little thing.
I have a Himalayan salt lamp.
Awesome.
Does that count?
You
Yeah,
had
100%.
a candle lit, my friend.
You
I
have a
did.
candle lit, exactly.
Blew it out so the house wouldn't burn down. 'cause
You are
lit
you
the black
are
flame
you
I
are
don't
a
have
witch.
Gaia protecting me.
You are a witch, whether you realize it or not.
Sure you do. You're
Yeah,
on
well,
there.
yeah, I think that stuff is unfairly dismissed because even if you look at like the Bigfoot community, it's like these guys will go out and start investigating and interviewing, and they just, if you go in the attitude, it's like, well, not all this is lies. It can't be lies. If we accept that, like, it's like the supernatural stuff starts to add up quite a bit, or these regular patterns of encounters that aren't particularly scientifically explainable start to be more and more frequent, and then you start to be a little more open to that kind of stuff. So,
And you know, a lot of people say about like the whole like getting things declassified and stuff is so that they can get funding for science and like we can learn to understand these things. And I just feel like when you really dive deep into all these experience or stories and really focus on the phenomena, it's almost like it's meant to be a mystery. There's such a big part of it that will not show itself to you. Like you
Or
get
we're
a
just-
taste, but it's about the searching. It's
Yeah.
almost not about the answers.
Yeah,
It's about the quest. And I don't think a lot of people realize that.
I
but
agree.
it's
and a lot of
the
people just
same
aren't
thing.
interested in that either.
But it's like, think about Skinwalker Ranch. They brought a whole fucking group of scientists, the best of the best. But what did they always say? That the phenomena had a way to always be 2 steps in front of them.
It's like every
No
time
matter
they put out
what.
the camera, it's like it knew where the camera
That
was.
they
And every time they were
knew.
trying to do something, it knew not to do it. It was obviously intelligent enough
Exactly.
to know and to outsmart science. So like, you're saying like, why are we wasting our time trying to get science involved when it very obviously
I love science.
doesn't
I
want
just,
science to be involved?
I
get
just
where you're
think
coming
when
So-
it comes to UFOs, I think that there has to be a point where we separate that. If
Yeah.
that makes sense.
I understand
and I
where
know
you're coming
that's
from.
I know that's not going to be a popular theory.
It's like
I just think
unpopular opinion.
it's going to be very unpopular opinion. I
No,
just
I
think that when
totally-
it comes to that relationship with people and with the phenomena, that it's going to remain that way.
Science is a protocol within the material world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And,
This shit is non-material.
and that's not to say that at some point science can explain these things, but we haven't developed
Yeah, not our
scientific-
version of science
like
now.
we have. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, okay, if we went back in time and I pulled out a Bic lighter to like a bunch of fucking peasants in the Middle Ages, they'd be like, "You're a magician."
Exactly. They'd be like, what is
And then
this?
they'd probably burn me at the stake.
Oh my
Exactly.
God. I was
Yeah.
going to just say that they would burn your ass to stake.
Mhm.
So like, think about like, if you look at like the whole aliens are just evolved humans from the future. It's like,
That is some people's
okay.
theory. Some people
Yeah.
who is it? What doctor?
Michael P. Masters.
Michael P. Masters. His whole idea is that aliens are literally nothing more than us from the future. That they're just people from the future.
I
But
mean,
I don't subscribe to one thing, and I think that's also a really big mistake that people make. It's thinking,
subscribing
like,
to
it
one
has to
solid
be-
idea. It has to be
It's an
this.
extraterrestrial. It's
Yeah.
an ultra dimensional.
It's all of it to me.
It's a parallel. They're parallel timelines.
You
They're
don't
us from the future.
You want people to be more open to all of it and not necessarily pick one specific.
because
It
it's
is
just
this.
there's too many options.
Yeah. And why
And-
can't it be all of it?
Yeah, and
Yeah, and I
especially
think that-
when not all situation fits the shoe. There's just so many different types of scenarios and experiences that have happened that I don't think it could fit into that.
and I think objective truth still has room for that entire spectrum of things. It can
Yes.
still be true
Mm-hmm.
and agreed upon by those observing it, but it doesn't necessarily have to be one thing or the other at the same time. It can be several
Absolutely.
different things. And that's really the issue with this whole like I was saying about the normies jumping on board with the UFO stuff. It's like
The
they just like,
normies.
oh, it's
They
aliens.
The
At best,
movie
they think
normies.
It's either aliens or the smarter ones are like, well, it might be military, like secret military.
The smarter ones.
But it's like there's so many other things it could be too. So it's like, I don't know.
There is so many.
There's different things out there that you're all classifying under this one umbrella. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's like so huge. I think that there are parallel timelines that are involved. I think that there are extraterrestrials. I think that there are ultradimensionals. And I also think that it goes larger into like, there's such a huge spiritual aspect to it, which makes me think like, are these our peers or are these something else watching and guiding? You know, like I think it all fits.
It's everything and anything and nothing all at once.
Amen.
Amen.
And that's where I fucking like it.
I agree.
Because
I don't like
I
all
don't
these
like-
people constantly trying to put it into a fucking box, like trying to
We're
It's like-
here on Earth like this on our
exactly.
phones. And
Mhm.
yet we want to try to give things like particular labels and figure this out. I'm like, who are you?
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I just don't like thinking about it like that, I guess. Just because I think it's bigger than us.
I agree. I
Yeah.
think
Not
that
to
we
say that we're small potatoes. I mean, we are, but
well, no, we are in the grand scheme of things, we are, but in our own lives, we're big potatoes. We are the stars of our own lives, our own reality that we're creating.
I mean,
Yeah,
we
and if it
could
is-
literally be them and we put ourselves in avatar bodies and we're all playing like a game.
A very, very long
And we
game.
fucking forgot and we're like playing jokes on ourselves, like showing up and poking each other on the shoulder to be like, what was that? I mean, who fucking knows? Could literally be in like an ultra terrestrial video game.
Mhm.
100%.
I think that's pretty valid, actually.
It's kind of trippy.
This seems to be a matrix. There seems to be absurdities that would point to that. Not to mention, like, they found like computer code within our fucking reality. It's like,
Yeah, it all came back
Have you
binary.
guys ever experienced like a glitch in the matrix? Like, you know what I'm talking about? Like, have you ever had some weird shit happen to you guys before that made
All
you
the
think
fucking
like,
time.
I will tell you something that happened to me recently. I mean, everyone thinks I'm slightly crazy for
No,
this.
Jamie, you're fucking colorblind. And
She
you
thinks I'm fucking
proved it.
colorblind. I'm
You
not.
proved it.
No, I used to have a pair of yellow tongs in my life. It's this little pair of yellow tongs. One day I woke up and they were fucking green, and like everything in my life was vastly different. Like people who used to tell me no
Tongs?
before told me
like salad tongs.
yeah, like salad tongs that you like cook with.
you know, you
and,
buy
like,
you
meat.
buy those in a set and they come in different colors sometimes.
Yes, but I only had one in my house and it was yellow. And all of a sudden the yellow one is completely gone and I have a green one. And I'm convinced that I'm on a different timeline. I'm just convinced that I live in a different timeline right now. I don't
Hey,
know who
she-
came with me.
She
And-
told us that story. And then in the same, like, I swear to God, like the same minute, told me the nail polish that I had was green. And my
it
mom
was,
and I were
baby
like,
blue or some shit. And she was
that
like, "It's
is
blue."
fucking blue.
Can
And
you
I'm like,
just
yellow and
colorblind?
green are different.
Or you
But
went
okay.
colorblind recently.
It happened
Maybe.
over and over and over again. And we kept
Maybe.
testing her. And she's
No.
like, no, that's straight.
So, anyways,
green.
did you
And we're
guys
like-
have any glitches in your matrices? Y'all just make fun of mine. That's how I know I'm in a different
You
timeline because you're trying to convince me that it
glitch.
didn't happen. NCPs. You're lucky I
N-
interact
N-
with you on this fucking timeline.
NPCs.
I'm an
NPCs, whatever they
SP.
are.
I'm an SP. I'm a
Whatever.
SSP, a
Now
super
you are.
suppressive person, and you're supposed to like block me out now.
Oh, is that we're talking Scientology terms? Okay,
We're
answer my
now
question.
Scientology.
Tell me about your glitches.
Oh, I've had a lot of glitches. I think the biggest glitch that I had where I was like really had to stop for a second.
Yeah.
Josh and I were in Disneyland, and we were
Ooh,
in
interesting
downtown
place
Disney.
to do it on the 33rd parallel.
I know, right? We're in downtown Disney where there's like one entrance, one exit at like, there's like the main downtown area. Exit, whatever. So we're like walking this direction. This lady was in front of us. And then like she walked into a store. We kept walking. And then we like get out to like a couple more stores. We keep walking down. And then like she walks out in front of us. And we were like, what? And it was like, it's just like so many stores that are far apart and they're not connected at all.
So there's
like
no
a
way she could have been
restaurant.
at both
There
places.
was this like, and like we stopped, we're like, she just turned right. And we're like, how is she in front of us? Like we watched her because she was right in front of us.
Yeah.
Turn, walk into somewhere. And then like a couple seconds later, she was like in front of us again. And we were just like, that doesn't make any sense. And like I had to stop and think about it and think like, was there a way? No,
like
I
how
know downtown.
is there a tunnel? Is there a way?
I know that place like the back of my hand. I've been going there like you have no idea. So I was just like really, really confused because nothing was connected. There was like restaurants in between, and it was the same girl that was all of a sudden like right in front of us.
That's trippy.
So I'm like, is she real? Like I really wanted to like ask her where she's been.
Like, excuse me,
where have you been?
Is this a dream?
Do you have a real name?
What about you, Bobby?
Placeholder?
Have you had any?
No, I was actually going to ask you guys, like, I don't know, like, if I have, I've easily chalked it up to something else and forgotten about it.
I do that too. I'm like, way
so
too
do you guys
rational
have
sometimes.
any kind of, like, aside from like some pretty intense sleep paralysis episodes, which isn't really a glitch in the matrix, that's the closest thing to like a supernatural experience I've had. But like, would you guys have any advice, anyone that would like to like kind of be more open to that or be more susceptible or vulnerable to that kind of stuff? Is there
to sleep paralysis?
No.
To having like
to
glitches.
like having these kind of experiences, whether it be glitches or aliens
or anything
ghosts or whatever.
You're not gonna like my answer.
Yeah,
I think I will.
Go for it, Brie. My thing.
Do I need to buy crystals? I'll buy crystals.
No. It's mine is let go and let the universe. You have to literally just give up trying to want it. I think sometimes people want it so bad that it doesn't happen, and I think sometimes you block yourself by like wanting to have these experiences so bad. Just let it be open in the back of your mind and live your life. What needs to happen and what has to happen for you to have your experience will happen when and how it needs to happen. And
so I can't just go in my backyard and start meditating and like staring at the sky and
100%
hope to see
can.
a-
So my answer is very different than Jamie's.
and hers is different. Exactly. Yeah. Hers is going to be the exact opposite of mine. Mine is just let it happen. That's how all of my experiences happen for me. It's not something that I sat there and I wished and I hoped and I prayed that would happen, or I tried meditating and calling aliens. All of mine have just been, I'm open. And if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I've gone into every experience with knowing that it's either going to happen or it's not. And I'm okay either way. And that's how I have mine.
I think that attitude gives more credibility to your experience too, because you're not like, you're open to it, but you're also not like desperate for it.
Yeah.
Right?
Like I'm not asking for it, but there's nothing wrong with people who do ask for those experiences and they experience it in a different way. That's just my personal way of dealing with it. I'm not good at meditating. I have ADHD. Like I go about it a different way. And my way is to just let go and let it happen. And if the universe wants me to see it, the universe will let me see it. And that's just truly how I feel about life.
Here's let me set the stage for my like mentality of this kind of stuff. Like I have my core moral foundation and principles and stuff and all that, but aside from that, like I've really trained myself. I'm not really afraid of death. I'm open to ideas. I understand that this is just one experience and what's likely to be
Many.
a vast experience that will continue after this realm. Like I'm all down with that shit, and I'm completely open to it. But like for whatever reason, I mean, I've had my phases of being terrified of this kind of stuff when I was a kid and stuff,
Yeah, we
but
remember that.
I've never just nothing's ever really happened for me, no matter like whether it be aliens or ghosts or
That you
whatever.
remember.
Maybe there's still that bit of fear though.
Mhm.
Maybe.
Maybe it's like so deep and subconscious that it's still existent. I would say meditate. And not just for like alien experiences, I think for like psychic experiences.
Mhm.
The more
Oh,
that you
man.
practice, the more it'll happen. It's a muscle.
I've been practicing like self-hypnosis to go to sleep and
Mm.
stuff.
Dope.
And it's pretty
I
dope
could do
because
it.
it really is a muscle you have to work. Like
That's what I'm saying.
you can't
It's all
just try it once
connected
and be
that
like,
way.
this is bullshit, it doesn't work. Like,
Yeah.
or even when you go the first time you do like a sensory deprivation, like float tank kind of
I'm
thing. I
doing
don't know
so
if you guys
bad.
ever done it. Like the first time you
I
do it,
haven't,
it's
want
like,
to.
well, this is kind of weird. This is kind of relaxing, but you're like still in your own head. You have
Mhm.
to train yourself to like not think about other shit.
Yeah.
And the way I found like the first lesson I learned in meditation when I've been trying it for like maybe a year now, but I'm starting to understand that like it is a muscle that you have to work,
Mhm.
Mhm.
is like when you close your eyes, you have to focus on all the little blotchy colors and shit of the back of your eyelids and pretend like it's some sort of weird, trippy visual cosmic thing.
Yeah.
And that's what will eventually
Lead.
Calm your mind
like,
down.
and then
Yeah.
I've gotten to the point where I can actually like feel weightless.
Mm.
But then I'm like, holy shit, I feel weightless. This is working.
And then
I
you snap yourself
out of
out.
it immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah,
Oh my
so-
God. That's amazing. That's really cool, Bobby. I'm very happy for you.
Keep doing that.
I think
I'm gonna
that
do it
everyone
tonight.
needs to, that's how you spiritually and consciously will evolve. You can't do it any other way.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, there's different kinds of experiences that you can have. And I think that when we're talking about these like spiritual meditating, it's a very psychic realm kind of experience that you're having with these aliens or UFOs. You know what I mean? And then you also have this other aspect that is the CE5 sitting down, calling a UFO that you see with your eyes, this more physical, earthly kind of thing. So there's
Mhm.
different ways, I think, to approach these different kinds of contacts. So you have to then, I think, also be open to all these different kinds of contact. Contact doesn't necessarily have to be you seeing a UFO in the sky.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that if you keep up what you're doing, I feel like you're going to have some type of contact experience, and it might be through meditation.
Okay, so next question. How do you avoid being vulnerable to like darker forces, I guess?
Mm.
Now that you're going to have to get your ass to the crystal shop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
no,
Okay.
I'm not even kidding you. And I would also say that it's also intention and making sure that you're like literally,
Being
since
like,
you're in the
I'm in the
mode,
light. I'm in the light.
since you're in the
yeah.
meditation mode, I would literally imagine that you're creating your own bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Now let me say this. Like when I'm really, 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 really high on drugs,
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty good at talking myself down from a freak out.
Okay, that's great.
Is it that kind of the same
So this
like
is so weird.
control over your mentality?
Yes.
Yeah.
I had this theory this weekend
Oh,
that I know. You know what? I fucking wrote it in my notes.
I
You know,
love
just
this.
go crazy on my notes. I had this theory over the weekend that different drugs put ourselves in different mindsets, and it's almost like different levels in the game, and
That
to
you have
be
to
able to
learn how to
talk
navigate.
ourselves, learn
Yeah.
how to navigate through that, and
Mhm.
So, like,
maybe
you're
even
forcing-
over conquer it.
So the
and then you
drugs is like
pass-
forcing you into this state that you would be in inside of your mind, and it is now a game to you that you have to figure out how to act while you're in this area and how to consciously be able to
Yes.
navigate that landscape in
Mhm.
that state of mind.
and maybe
Yeah,
even
it-
override.
One of the
And
more
you're
like
like, oh
Mm.
shit.
Like
One
go
of the
straight
more,
through
like,
it. Yeah.
I guess esoteric takes on drug use is like we do it as a species, or we participate in it to like feel to be something bigger or more different or more conscious or more powerful than like our normal everyday selves, like to
Yeah.
exit the material world in some way.
Yeah, I would say exiting Earth. Yeah, most
kinda like
people
what I
who do
was-
drugs, whether it's they don't want to live in reality, they don't want to feel things, it's to
Right.
get
I
out
mean,
of this earthly realm.
and it's not necessarily like a coping mechanism, though it is a lot of times.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like the more, like, not that I'm endorsing like go out and do drugs or whatever.
Yeah.
Do
but, like,
drugs.
No, do drugs. We endorse that on this podcast.
I would agree. Just do them. You might as well.
Yeah, we're fine. No, fuck it.
But
Live your
I
life,
feel
who
like
cares?
there's like different things that open like different like thought patterns or like realizations that open, or like the way your mind works, obviously,
Crown chakra.
when you are on drugs. And if you can hone that in to navigate it in the places you want it to go, and just start writing that shit down, or writing a song or whatever it is, like it's a totally, for me, it's a
Creative outlet.
creativity thing in a lot of ways. Like if you
So,
listen to Not For Everyone podcast, like we are usually pretty
blasted.
inebriated in
Yeah.
some way or another. But anyway, like I just noticed, like I'm at this phase in life where I stopped doing drugs recreationally. I'm doing it more for like
Spirituality.
I don't want to say spiritual because that's so cheesy.
But
It's
you
just like,
are.
it's like jumping into a video game where you're like, let's
Yes.
see where I can make my mind go.
You
That's
and-
what I
need
was
to
just
read-
saying. It's
you
like
need-
they're different. Like it feels like it's a level in a video
like
game.
I do not want to eat an edible and go to a fucking house party. I'm too old
No.
for that shit.
Yeah,
That
it sounds awful.
horrible to me.
Yeah.
I could handle it, but I'd be like, let's get the fuck
But
out
I
of
do
here.
want
I
to
want to
eat an
go
edible
listen to
and
Pink
pop on a
Floyd and fall
documentary.
asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really need to read Dr. Andrew Gillimore's book about DMT and like talking to aliens, because I think that you'd really vibe with that, like really fucking deep. I think that's basically what you're
Okay.
talking about right now. He's talking about how you use it as a way to like, you're using drugs as a way to open up like a portal to this other
I
side.
started reading Graham Hancock's Supernatural, which is kind of about that, but it's very, very daunting. It's like 500 pages. I haven't finished it, but anyway, yeah.
That sounds like a
He
lot
has
to read.
another one too. What is it called? Fuck, I forgot.
He has a few good books.
No, that he only has
Relates to
two
that, yeah.
relates to that. Fuck, it's gonna come to me.
It's
Oh
gonna
well.
come.
It's gonna come
Oh,
to me.
you guys should read Huxley's Mosca if you're into this kind of stuff.
Okay.
Moska.
Isn't it an audiobook?
Muska.
Probably.
We love
Probably.
audiobooks. We're audiobook
I just
fans
can't
over
think
here.
about reading anything else right now.
I like
I
reading,
know.
but it puts me to sleep so fast and it takes me so long to finish it. I just would rather listen to it.
See, I listen to it at work when I'm fucking doing my little spreadsheets and shit, and I'm like, absorb the
See, I'd rather
knowledge.
listen to Not For Everyone, or not For Everyone. I'd rather listen to that one time I was abducted by aliens.
And
on
I'm
the
listening to Not For
background.
Everyone podcast, and also
There you
Welcome to
go.
Horror.
Yeah, hell yeah. It's so
I'm
relaxed. They're
listening
so
to music.
relaxing. It's so British and like calming. Anyway.
Bree's like, I'm listening to this tribe down in Africa who has made alien contact, and the aliens had given them this song, and it just really penetrates my soul.
I was just telling my
100%.
wife this. I was listening
Vibe.
last night to help me go to sleep and meditate and shit. I was trying to find tracks to listen to on YouTube and stuff. Like
Bree will send you
meditation,
some.
Bobby
has
hypnosis tracks and
playlists.
stuff.
Fucking
It was literally like I was
shit.
getting really into it. I was like, wait a minute. This is just the like
Drop them in the group
like,
chat, Bree.
My
this is just the
shit.
PlayStation home screen music that was
I'll
playing. I
take
was
it.
like, yeah, right. So yeah, send me your recommendations, Bree.
Yeah, drop it in the chat. She has fucking playlists that she listens to. She forces her husband every
Every
night to
night.
listen to it, and they both just meditate together.
And throughout the
Yeah.
night.
Oh, yeah, no, it
fucking
doesn't
down.
turn
It's
off.
great. It doesn't
Yeah.
turn off. I put
No.
the like 9, 10, 11-hour ones on.
Mm-hmm. She goes to town on
Put
them
that shit on
fuckers.
black screen.
Oh, you know what I love now is on YouTube you can get like HD drone footage of just nature. And I just
Ooh, that's
like
beautiful.
it's like drone footage of like like the Alps or like
Ooh.
a babbling brook or whatever, and you just put it on your TV in the background. It's like
A
very
little.
And then
zen.
what?
She's
What
a
do you do
vibe.
then?
You just keep it on the
You
background.
It's like
Stare it out.
ambient sound.
I do
sound
that,
and
but for
visuals.
birds for my cats. I like to like
Yes,
if I'm
I
not there, I
do
put
too.
it on
Oh,
for my
bird
cats.
YouTube.
Bird
my
and squirrel YouTube for my cats.
my YouTube's like, hey, here's some more TV for dogs, and I'm like, yeah, it's just squirrels for 9
We don't
hours,
have a
like doing
dog.
squirrel shit.
My
You are the
dog likes to
dog.
watch penguins, like that penguin Netflix fucking documentary. I put that shit on. She literally sits on
Happy
my bed.
Feet?
Like, no, it's like for the real penguins.
Oh,
It's like a documentary of real
Real
penguins.
penguins,
And
Brie.
she's like really into the real penguins. She's like, she sits on the bed and she like follows them. She's like, what the fuck are these things? Anything else I put on doesn't care. Penguins.
she
loves
starts
it.
walking on 2 feet. She's
Yeah,
like,
she's like, penguins. Ooh, I would love that. Bring me pebbles. Oy vey. All right, guys, we've been at this for quite some time now, and I think we're gonna have to.
Bobby,
gonna
I'm
have
so
to wrap up
impressed
this
with
one.
you. I
I know we
didn't
love you,
know.
Bobby.
I didn't know that
With
you
my
were.
meditation practices.
Yeah.
It's all because of you guys.
Oh, you're so sweet, Bobby. Look,
I mean, you're definitely like you're
the
definitely
Kim
like
K cry.
inspiring. Of course, I'm like, oh, these ladies are like pretty on the level, but like y'all are like wonderfully skeptical but also like open, and I think that's the key. Like you can't.
It's a weird balance that we found, and it's taken us some
Mhm.
time to get there, but like it's a happy place to be. It's like a weird as Bree says, it's professional middle bitches.
Yep,
Mhm.
I love it, because there
Yeah.
are some I guess woo woo or even UFO podcasts that are like, this is fucking horse shit. Like this is just
Sometimes that
too
happens.
far gone for me. And I read David Icke, so like who the
Oh
fuck am I to
wow,
say?
that's
That's
So,
extreme.
deep.
yeah. Just out of curiosity more than anything. But
I
anyway,
know, right? You have to though.
He's
Sometimes
cool,
you have to read
though.
that stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
All right, guys, we have to get together again soon for episode number 3. We have no idea a time frame for that, so we're not going to promise anything.
Are we actually gonna do it? Because Jamie put in our calendar
every single Tuesday
every fucking Tuesday, and
for the
it's
rest of
linked to my
eternity
phone. So every single Tuesday
at 6:00, she gets
I
a
get
ding
an
that we're
alert
supposed to be recording.
with Bobby.
Hey,
Yeah.
I will have how about this? I will have a cryptid corner ready next Tuesday.
All right, deal. We'll do it next Tuesday, guys. We're gonna say it into the universe, so hopefully it happens.
We're giving
okay
our
with you,
energy
Bree?
to it.
We love
Bree looked
everybody.
disappointed when I said that.
I know.
No, I said yes.
It's
Okay.
I'm
just
not disappointed.
sometimes her facial expressions are aggressive.
Awful. No,
there's been some shows we look back on where we've been on other people's shows, and Bree's like, oh my god, my facial expressions, and I'm like, yeah, your facial expressions, I love it. But she's like, no.
Jamie, did I like so and so? We were like in a group thing, so I asked him because I couldn't remember if I liked someone or
And I was
not.
like, go
And
look at
she's
your
all,
facial
go
expressions.
back and watch your facial expressions.
Exactly. It'll tell you right there. All right, guys, we love you all. Everything is linked below to find Bobby on all of his socials and all of ours. We love you. And then next time, bye, guys.
Bye.